Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be exploring the question, what the hell is an Alex G? Let's start with the basic facts. Alex G's full name is Alexander Gianascoli, making him firmly Italian. He was born February 3rd, 1993, making him 28 years old as I record this, and he was born in Pennsylvania. He's also a singer-songwriter, and he currently has 8 albums. I'll be covering all 8 albums chronologically throughout this video, but first a little background on Alex G before his first album. When Alex was 11, he learned how to play the guitar, and he started recording music on his parents' Apple computer, which he then shared among friends. He was in a couple of bands before deciding on adopting the Alex G moniker, including a goth band called Mother that he was in with his sister, and a punk band called The Skin Cells, which will not be covered in this video. Alex wanted to be an English teacher, so he enrolled at Temple University in Pennsylvania in 2011. But before he did that, he did Race. Race was released January 1st, 2010 under the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania record label Gold Sounds, when Alex was only 16 or 17 years old. In this album, I think the biggest theme is being lonely, and probably second is relationships, though I don't think this is a breakup record. It has a very youthful energy to the whole thing, but musically, it is very full of instruments. The whole thing is rather lo-fi, but it's recorded rather well. Nothing seems like it was recorded too far away or too close. The only minor complaint I have about the mix is the drums. They could seem a little bit too low in the mix on some songs, but it's really only a minor issue in the grand scheme of things. Songwriting-wise, this is incredible. The only song that I feel like is lacking is the song Go Away, because of how short it is and how strange the intervals of pitch shifting happen. Besides that, every song is pretty much amazing. They are all unique, and Alex G obviously has a knack for catchy lines and choruses. I highly recommend this album. Overall, I give this a 9.5 out of 10. Definitely the strongest Alex G record. The next one is Winner, released in 2011. Winner was released July 4th, 2011. Now you might be wondering, what is this? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's what Wikipedia says is the next Alex G album, so I'm gonna roll with it. This one is more obscure mainly because it was self-released on Alex's Bandcamp, and that's it. It was never put on streaming services. The first 4 songs are very short, all clocking in under 2 minutes, but I think that they are all good, and I think Talking is the best song by Alex G that he's put out up until this point. The song Blue is the longest on the album at 4 minutes, and it's a pretty good song too that takes advantage of the extra time that it's given. Notable highlights after this point were songs Big World, Dust, and Get Happy. In conclusion, do not sleep on this record. It might not be as good as Race, but it's definitely really good. I give it an 8.5. Next is the next Alex G record that was released on streaming services. Is Rules. Yes, I can finally cover what I've been holding in this entire time. This album cover is so fucking ugly. It was released January 16th, 2012. It was also self-released, but this album was the first record that Alex released after leaving college. So him focusing more on his music definitely paid off. The opening 2 tracks, Water and Come On, as well as the track The Wicked Boy, is good. Miss is the first really amazing song on it. It's very different. It's mainly focused on piano, which is nothing new to Alex G, but I just thought that it added a nice touch. Another different track was Master, which is interesting. I wish it had lyrics, but I love the riff on it, and the harder tone that it works with is really wonderful. The next song is New. This has such like a wonderful story to it, and it almost made me cry on first listen. Basically, it's about doing things that it might hurt, or just doing stupid things that teenagers do, like sneaking out and going to see a boy just to feel real, or in this case, like new, like experiencing something new for the first time, or doing it again just so you can feel it again. I like the track No Now for how short it is. Rules had me coming back more than I thought. Message is a cute outro track that goes nicely into the 2 bonus tracks that were included after the fact. Sandy is a wonderful song about a girl that's going through puberty, And good, as the name implies, is pretty good. I give Rules a 9 out of 10. I just really wish that this wasn't such a shitty album cover. Like, it just looks really lazily done, and the font looks disgusting, in my opinion. Also released in 2012 was Trick. This album was released November 6th, 2012 under the label Haze Tapes. It starts off with the song Memory, which truly does kind of feel like a memory, how it drifts between abrasive sounds and then ends abruptly. Forever has the first appearance of a saxophone so far. I like the lyrics on this song that go, made up a game, no pain, no gain, until you break, make no mistake. And then the song Animals, which feels like a hazy David Bowie song from the Berlin era. This song is truly sublime. Advice, which is the current most popular Alex G song, it's hard to hate on if you haven't listened to it like a million times, which I personally haven't listened to it 100 million times, but it is a pretty good song. Like, it's a perfectly fine song. Personally, I don't see why this is the most popular song. I'd probably put 6 or 7 or like 10 Alex G songs over this one. It's not a bad song. Now, the song People is more like it to me. If an Alex G song makes me feel sad the second that it starts, it's above most other songs. Again, after this comes the song Whale, which is a song about eating a whale. And I think every song so far has had a lot of quotable lines in it, but this one specifically, it's very weird and graphic the way that he's describing like frying a whale and making it a 3-course meal. Like, it's just weird. I'm not really a huge fan of the songs Trick and Cute, but I am a fan of the following track, So, and especially Mary. Mary was the first Alex G song I ever heard, and so I have a soft spot. It's also the only song on this album specifically that he cusses on. The next song is Change, which is a depressing moment on the album, just because of how it makes me feel specifically about the lyrics. I don't like how things change is repeated. It just hits, you know? And then going into Clouds, the atmosphere becomes quite calm. Still sad, as it goes into the penultimate track, Sarah, which is so much more rewarding listening to it in tracklist order instead of just putting it on because it's one of the most popular songs off of this record. When listening to it with all the rest of the songs, it just feels more rewarding. And then the last track is 16 Mirrors. To me, I don't think 16 Mirrors is all that special. You know, as a closer, I kind of understand it, but to me, it's not the best track. Personally, I put this at around the same ranking as Rules. I think maybe this one has more memorable tracks on it, but Rules just like makes you more depressed, I think. And that kind of factors into my enjoyability of it. The next album was released June 17th, 2014 under Orchid Tapes Records, and it's called DSU. This is definitely an important record for Alex G's career. It was the first one that had a large critical response from places like The Washington Post, Rolling Stone, and Rough Trade. The name DSU stands for Dream State University, as cited by Alex himself. In this quote, I was asking my sister what I should name the album and she gave me a bunch of names. One of them was Dream State because I gave her all the songs to listen to and she said that they all had a dreamy vibe. I thought that was too cheesy, but I was joking around with the name Dream State University as a play on the whole state university thing we have here in America. And then we both were like, oh, that's pretty funny. Why don't we do that? And then I kind of bailed out at the last minute. I just thought it was such a lame fucking name, but I couldn't change it at that point. My sister had already written DSU on the album cover, and she was about to put Dream State University at the bottom. So I was like, no, I hate that name. Don't do it. So in the end, we just stuck with DSU and it worked out. The first real standout track is After You're Gone and Black Hair. They both have traditional Alex G style melodies, but they work with them well. The next track that caught me off guard was Axe Steel, that has lots of screaming, almost like I can't tell if it's screaming or if it's a synth that's emulating screaming, but it was quite unexpected. The first song that like really made me cry by Alex G was the song Sorry. The lyrics are so simple, but they make my mind wander. The lyrics all, I'll get my cure, wait in the car, I won't remember who you are. And he repeats that over and over again. And the next song after that is called Promise, which is surprisingly funky. Not that it's a funk song, but the bass line or the synth line, I'm not really entirely sure what it is very bouncy and like dance like, but then it goes into that little melancholy that he likes to go into. The last track I'd want to mention is the song Boy, which has great lyrics and closes off the album proper. There are two other tracks on it, but I didn't feel like mentioning them. Overall, I give this album an 8 out of 10. Coming in October 9th, 2015 on Domino Records. Beach Music was Alex G's fifth album and the first album on Domino Records, which he would stay with for the next two albums after this. A funny callback happens on the song Bug, where Alex says he doesn't know me, no pain for my gain, which is poking fun at the lyric on Trick. I think the song is fine, but the best part is the high-pitched lyrics at the end. The song Lookout uses a drum machine and synths that make a dreamlike sound that work really well, and it puts me up there with my favorite. And also Bright Boy. God, I love this song. The duet style of this song works so well. At this point, Alex's discog, I find myself gravitating towards the more weird, interesting songs more than the pop or alternative folk sounding ones that he's been doing up until this point. Like, it's probably because I just fell in, that sort of middle zone. But if your favorite track that you really like off of some of these albums doesn't end up on here, it's probably because of that reason. It just, sits there. The song In Love is very strange. It has a trumpet solo and Alex doing this strange voice throughout the whole song. Mud is a beautiful understated ballad that is amazing. And I really love the organ on the beginning of Ready. It works really perfect with the clicky guitars, and this has one of the best choruses on it. The song Station is really fucking bizarre. It has these weird auto-tuned notes and weird like synth notes that don't really make any sense, but I respect it for being like weird as shit and like kind of breaking up the monotony. Overall, this might not be my favorite because it's a bit meandering at some points and the instrumental tracks didn't really need to be here, but I still think it's a solid release. I give it 7.5 out of 10. This next record I have very little to say about because it's my least favorite Alex G record. I listened to all of these albums from yesterday until today, and this one has been my least favorite both times. It's Rocket, released May 19th, 2017. I think Poison Root has a weird cutoff that goes into Proud, a more country-inspired song, but it kind of works because it's kind of unsettling, plus the song was already quite eerie and depressing. This carries over into a lot of the songs like Witch that I really like, but out of all the releases so far, I've been the most passive about this one. It just feels a bit aimless. Like, a lot of these songs just don't feel whole, like they feel kind of unfinished. I feel like this release more than others just made me not that excited personally, and I mean very personally. If you like this album, that's completely fine, and I kind of understand it, but it's definitely not my favorite. So I'm going to give it the lowest score so far at 5.5 out of 10. And then to the latest release, September 13th, 2019's House of Sugar. Since signing with Domino Records, I think it's been kind of hit or miss. I feel a bit better of a connection to this album than I did to Rocket. The production has cleaned up a little bit, and the instrumental ideas, in my opinion, have started to become a little bit more interesting, like on the track Walk Away, with the reverse synth and the sludgy drums making it feel like you're slipping as Alex croons Walk Away, Not Today. The song Hope might sound like a pretty typical Alex G song, but it's really the production that saves the song and is carrying the track, and many like it. One of my favorites on the album is Southern Sky, in which it's a very piano-driven song, which is kind of strange. It almost starts off kilter, like I feel like I didn't know for the first 5 listens where the downbeat happened. I just can't explain it. I actually like the song Project 2. It's weird and a bit indulgent, but it's a good change of pace compared to a lot of the more folky stuff. I think sometimes I notice that as Alex G gets older, the less I relate to his lyrics. Maybe when I get older, I'll like them more, but I feel a certain charm is lost with the newer stuff. I feel like this record is a bit better than Rocket, and hopefully, when Alex G releases a new record coming maybe this year or the next year, since it's been pretty much 3 years since the last one, it turns out a lot better than this one. Overall, I think it's about a 6.5. Closing thoughts, I think listen to Alex G's first 4 records. They're all pretty good. If you really like maybe early Car Seat Headrest or that more folky side of Phoebe Bridgers or Elliott Smith, you'd like Alex G. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.